What's good everyone, Mage here, and today we're going to go over 5 mistakes that you could be making as Joker. This is the first installment of this series where we go over bad habits and find ways to turn those bad habits into good habits. Now there's not much else to be said except for just sit back and enjoy the video. Let's hop into it. Now with somebody who has nearly 17,000 KOs, over 6,000 battles, and 355 hours excluding training mode, I've come to understand how this character functions and what you're not supposed to do. Let's dive into the first and probably biggest mistake. Yes, I know a few of you may be confused by this, but shielding in Ultimate is kinda bad. It takes 11 frames to drop shield and do a grounded action, which means that playing in shield on the ground will slow you down. Not only that, but he has subpar out of shield options, meaning that some characters are going to be landing on your shield for free, which you don't want at all. Now when I say subpar, I don't mean completely bad. Back air is really good, but they had to be behind you before you use it, hence the name back air. Fair is also good, but depending on the situation, it just goes over people. And then you have up smash. Up smash sounds really good, right? A frame 10 move that kills in 120, what can go wrong? Aside from those few mishaps, the move is still very much indeed usable, but I guarantee you, play out a shield for a couple games and see how much better you do. Joker, in my opinion, has the best movement in the game and he's really hard to hit. Use his ridiculous speed and his low dashing animation as your primary form of defense. Now, examples of what not to do. It should be common knowledge by now, but don't hold shield. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna go bad for you. Another example, there is no reason to shield here as Joker because jumping gun is really good. That's just one of the many options you have. This also ties into another point, but we'll get into that much later. As for shielding, you can just jump away and that will end up as a whiff grab for them. And if you're still shielding versus a DK in 2020, I don't know what to tell you. As we all know, fair one is the most reliable way to kill. But if you go land on people's shield without a care in the world, things can get really sticky for you. If the opponent has a good out of shield option, they're just going to punish you all day for bad spacing on fair one. But with proper spacing, you will avoid most out of shield options in the game. I will be going in depth on how safe fair one is in another video. In this context, I knew the Pikachu was going to mash, so this is a good use of fair one. But here, in this game 1 situation, with little to no information on the opponent, this is a horrible fair one. And here I took the matchup and the opponent into consideration. I noticed that Peach 4 there was used a lot of disadvantage, so fair one was going to beat it out. And just one glance at this should explain itself. There is no reason to be rushing Charizard down at this percentage. Side B, E-High. It's an amazing move. A projectile that does 13.2% damage. Also gives you a Vantage State. Now for its flaws. As we just seen, this move was 49 total frame, meaning that we cannot do anything to protect ourselves doing this move, leaving us wide open and defenseless. Now for Aegon. Now this move grants you 20 damage, it does move faster than E-High, and it's also a lot easier to hit the ledge with. Not to mention it creates an area that blows away anything that touches it. Now for the cons. This move is basically a free punish, since this move is pretty much an entire second. In this game, every frame matters, and you're giving up 57 here. Now for another glaring weakness, the effective range. If you're a small character, or if you have a really low dash animation, you can punish Joker really easy for doing this. This projectile does not give you complete protection, so you should not be using it more than twice. To be honest, in some matchups more than once, because they can punish you immediately for using it. And against fast characters, Sonic especially, you should not be using this. And another example, ZSS can cover a lot of space in a short period of time. Keep that in mind. And yes, Sonic returns. I know I probably said this before, but yeah, Sonic is really fast and you don't want to do this. just as long as the opponent is not ducking under your moves while he's running, or if they're not short, you're free to use this move a few times. I know this is fundamental and this applies to basically the whole entire cast, but in Joker's case, it's really important. Our recovery is very exploitable. If you didn't know, Joker only gets 3 grapples. And if he is hit, or if he cancels his tether, he does not get his jumping animation back when he up Bs again. He also does not have invincibility as he's tethering up, making him a sitting duck off stage. So if you're going off stage, make sure they're not coming back before you or you end them. Now for our Sin, our recovery just gets completely, well, it gets better, but it just gets worse at the same time. And let me explain that. Now we do have invulnerability for 22 frames, but that does not matter when we're recovering from farther out. Joker just explodes for going off stage sometimes, so yeah, think about the risk reward when you go off stage. Like here with MKLeo, here he thought about the risk reward. He was at 117 while Eason was at 26. If he would have gotten the spike, he would have killed him, but it does not matter. Our Sin's recovery is really unforgiving. I also see a lot of other Jokers go off stage and gun a lot when they don't have to. This leads into you giving this stage control, which also means that you may or may not die to some nonsense. Most of the time it's better to stay on stage and get a lead strap started. Now this is a good example of going off stage. If you see that they use their double jump, then you're free to chase them as much as you want to off stage, just as long as you know how they're going to recover. Now let's touch the subject of risk reward in guns one more time. Sometimes it is just not worth going off stage with guns. Take this for example, I died at 19. And this. There is no reason to go off stage versus Kirby when he has all of his jumps. Stay on stage. This is a good example of going off stage. With the change to guns in 7.0, spiral guns really have a use now. Try using this when you're edge guarding near the stage. And this should be common knowledge, but Byleth, don't even try it. And yes, things may be going your way sometimes, but remember never to get too ahead of yourself, because you can straight up kill yourself sometimes just from one little mistake, as seen here. Stop giving their stage control. Now for the final point of this video, incorrect use of up B. There are specific cases where up B will true combo. I will get into that a bit later. Depending on the move that's used, you can completely lose out on your advantage state. So if the opponent is outside the combo percentage, up B should only be used if you know they're going to mash on the way down. Depending on the opponent's fall speed, they can blow you up for trying this. Now we're going to get into ways we can make up B work. The first way is of course a jump read. If you condition the opponent to jump after everything you do, this is going to be really great for you. Of course this is a commitment that you may or may not get punished for, so please keep that in mind. Now let's touch on the subject of air dodging. If you know that the opponent likes to air dodge after everything, you can frame trap them with an up air. Or depending on the height, you can wait for them to come down and then upbeat them anyway. That's if they pick neutral air dodge. And now let's dive into true combos. The opponent has to be around 25% for this to be true. Also, the iron jumps do not matter, but this will only work on frame 3 air dodges and above. I've done testing on frame 2 and they got out every time I tried to up air. And small characters are out. But if the character is relatively tall and they have a frame 3 air dodge, then you just might be free to use this. There are of course other combos that may work with up B, but we're going to get into that in another video where I go in depth on how to use up B. And yes, before we go, rage will affect this. Make sure you keep an eye on your percentage while you're doing this. And of course, watch the RSM meter. But that's going to be it. If you made it this far in the video, you're a homie. It's been Mage from MoS, and I'm signing out.